Hello everyone. Last time we saw what is uniform flow and some of its properties. Today we are going to solve a problem based on uniform flow. Okay. So in today's lecture, our aim is to understand what uniform flow formulas to apply, what are those formulas, how to apply them, and what are the type of problems that you will face as far as the uniform flow is concerned, and how to solve those problems. Okay, and solve one sample problem. Okay, I just have taken one example, one type of problem we'll see today, and later on we'll see other types also. Okay, so before getting into directly solving this uniform flow problems, first we'll discuss a few things so that we get used to the idea of open uniform flow. So we have seen that uniform flow, the meaning of uniform flow is flow becomes uniform. That means the depth, velocity, etc. do not change with respect to space. So if you have this flow, this is the channel bottom and flow is taking place like this. Okay, so this is supposed depth of flow. Now flow depth is constant at any location. Go here and check the flow depth, it will be same. Go here, check the flow depth, it will be same. At any point of on the channel, the flow depth will be same. So this it means that flow has achieved uniformity in the channel. Okay, so forces are balanced now. What major forces are acting on this kind of flow, on open channel flow? One force is the gravity force, which is causing the motion, and other force is the frictional force, which is resisting the motion. Okay, because of the friction which is coming from the bed, okay, and sides. So basically these are the two forces, gravity and resistance, and when uniformity is achieved, both the forces are balanced, and net forces acting on this flow, net forces is zero. So no net resultant force is acting on the uniform flow. Okay, net force acting on the uniform flow is zero. Always remember that. Okay, it is a case of Newton's first law of motion, which states that a body continues to be in the state of rest or uniform motion unless acted upon by external unbalanced force. Okay, so now there is no unbalanced force, so flow will continue in a uniform motion. Alright, so this is all about uniform flow. Now remember, whenever we say uniform flow, then the depth of flow is called as normal depth. So we represent it by yn or y naught. Some books will say y naught, some books will say yn. Okay, so this is not normal y, this is yn, it is normal depth. Okay, so anywhere you calculate the depth, it will be yn. Okay, again, now there are some properties that we should always remember. Let's say, now you know this is the channel bottom. Okay, so channel bottom will have this, it will have some slope. Okay, the slope will be this. Okay, some vertical to some horizontal. Okay, now what is this? Basically, if the height of channel bottom from a particular datum is the Z, potential it, isn't it? Z. So this will be dz and this will be dx, because flow direction is x direction. Okay, we represent the flow direction by x direction. So now bed slope, what is the bed slope now? Bed slope becomes, this is, I will write it here. Bed slope will become dz by dx. Okay, this is what dz. See, as we are moving with x along x direction, what is changing for this channel bottom? Z value is changing. Okay, so this slope is dz by dx, and dz by dx will be equal to, it is tan theta. Since dz is, if this is theta, this will be also theta. Okay, so opposite upon adjacent is tan theta. So we have tan theta equal to dz by dx. This is also called as bed slope, SB. Okay, so bed slope is nothing but SB. It is equal to dz by dx, and it is also equal to tan theta. Fine. Now see, the water surface slope, this water surface is also having some slope. Okay, the water surface is also having some slope. What is that slope? So if we go along x, if we move in the flow direction, what is changing here? For this water surface, what is changing? The depth. Okay, like what? Here we are having dx and this is dy. Okay, with respect to say, with respect to this z, this datum, if you see, measure everything with this datum. Suppose if you measure with respect to channel bed, y is constant. Actually, flow depth is constant; it is not changing. But with respect to a fixed datum, horizontal, if we see, then dy, this slope will become dy by dx. Okay, so what is the slope? Water surface slope is dy by dx. Now, since the flow is uniform, flow depth is constant, so velocity is also constant. So flow depth is constant, therefore these two lines should be parallel. So channel bottom and water surface is parallel, therefore these slopes are equal. For uniform flow, bed slope is equal to the water surface slope. Okay, so bed slope is SB, this is which is dz by dx. Water surface slope is dy by dx. Okay, so this is one property. Another property, now you look at what happens to the velocity head. Suppose v is the velocity at this point, average velocity is suppose v. Okay, what will be the velocity at other locations? At other locations also velocity will be v itself. The average velocity will not change since depth is not changing. Okay, because continuity equation states that a into v, a1 v1 should be equal to a2 v2. Your depth is constant at all the locations, so your a1 becomes equal to a2 equal to a3. Therefore v1 becomes equal to v2 equal to, anywhere you calculate the velocity, all the average velocity at all the locations will be same. Now since the average velocity is same, what is the velocity head at any point? It will be v square by 2g. Okay, kinetic energy head or velocity head. This is what kinetic energy head, velocity head, kinetic energy per unit weight of the fluid. That is the velocity head, and this velocity head, it will also be same at all the locations. So if you draw the energy gradient line, it will be again v square by 2g at any point. Okay, so if you join this will be energy gradient line. Okay, suppose this is capital H. Okay, capital H is the total energy head. Suppose total energy head is what? Sum of potential head, sum of pressure head, that is depth of flow yn, and sum of velocity head. So sum of datum head, pressure head and velocity head. This will give you total energy head. So energy, this slope of energy line will be with respect to dx, it will be what? dh. Okay. Now again this is called as energy gradient, the slope of energy gradient line is called SF. So slope of EGL, that is called as SF. Okay, and SF is equal to dH by dx. Okay, now see, since flow is uniform, velocity head at all the locations is same, therefore these two lines are also parallel. Okay, so from water surface slope, this distance will be always constant, v square by 2g is same since. Okay, so these two lines are also parallel. It means that all these three slopes are same. All the three lines are parallel for uniform flow. So we also get for uniform flow, again we are getting one condition, so we should remember this. That is equal to SF, slope of EGL. EGL is nothing but energy gradient line. Okay, slope of the energy gradient line means the line which represents the total energy head along the flow, that is the energy gradient line. Okay, so these are some properties of uniform flow. Always remember, whatever is the bed slope, the water surface will be parallel to the bed slope, and energy gradient line will also be parallel to the bed slope. Okay, all three lines will be parallel. Okay, so these are the properties of uniform flow. Okay, let's go ahead. We saw last time, we also saw some formulas of uniform flow. Okay, so whenever uniform flow is occurring in a channel, we saw how it develops also and what are the formulas also. Okay, imagine that you put some water in some open channel. Okay, you put some water here in an open channel. Always remember how the flow gets developed, uniform flow. So if you have one value of slope, bed slope, you provide some bed slope, okay, and put some amount of Q. Some discharge you put in this channel, okay, you put some discharge in the channel, gives some slope to the channel. So you will have for one slope always one depth, normal depth value. Okay, so when you put flow in this channel, a point will come when flow will become uniform and you will get one uniform flow depth. So for every slope, for every value of bed slope, you will get one value of normal depth. Okay, so uniform flow is possible for all or any value of slope, and the depth will be normal depth. So you will get one normal depth value for one value of bed slope. Okay, so remember that. Now what were the formulas? We saw 2-3 formulas, but 2 formulas are always useful for solving the problems. First formula is the Chase's formula. Chase's formula gives the velocity of uniform flow as C under root R into SB. Okay, R is the hydraulic radius, this V is the mean velocity or average velocity, C is the Chase's constant, and R is the hydraulic radius, hydraulic radius is given by flow area by wetted perimeter. Okay, capital A by P. A is the flow area, P is the wetted perimeter. We saw that in the last lectures. SB is the bed slope. Okay, basically SB can also be written as frictional slope, but since for uniform flow both slopes are same, so we use bed slope because bed slope is easy to measure. Alright, this is Chase's formula. You can calculate discharge and velocity in in uniform flow by this formula. Suppose you want to calculate discharge, so you will use Q equal to AV. So simply you will get AC under root R into SB. Okay, this is the Chase's formula. Second, you have Manning's formula. So these two formulas will be very useful for solving the problems. Manning's formula, it states that V is 1 by N 1 by N R to the power 2 by 3 SB to the power 1 by 2. Okay, very simple formula and very famous. Mostly we will be using Manning's formula only. Okay, again here N is the Manning's constant. N is what? Manning's constant. Now see, both these equations are empirical in nature, they are not theoretical equations, they are empirical. Therefore, these constants are having some dimensions. You can calculate the dimensions from this equation. Okay, just get C equal to V upon under root RS, find the dimensions of this V and write the dimensions, you will get the dimensions. So C is not unitless, C is having unit. Similarly, Manning's constant is also having some unit. Okay, we'll do that calculation later. Now see, This is the Manning's formula. Again you can calculate discharge by this formula by AV. So it will be A by N R to the power 2 by 3 SB to the power 1 by 2. Alright. So remember these two formulas. Now there is relation between Chase's constant and Manning's constant also. What is that relation? Just equate both the velocities. See, both formulas are for mean velocity. So you can equate both. If you equate both, we get C under root R SB is equal to 1 by N R to the power 2 by 3 SB to the power 1 by 2. Okay. So because mean velocities, these both are the formulas for mean velocity, so we are equating them. So now here SB will get cancelled. Root SB is nothing but SB to the power 1 by 2. It's one and the same thing. So we are getting C is equal to 1 by N R to the power 2 by 3 upon R to the power 1 by 2. So that is equal to C equal to, therefore C we are getting 1 by N R to the power 2 by 3 minus 1 by 2 will be 4. It will be 2 by 3 minus 1 by 2. 4 minus 3, 1 by 6. So this will be 1 by 6. Okay. So this is the relation between Chase's constant and Manning's constant. So if you come across a situation where you know the Chase's constant and you want to calculate Manning's constant, use this formula. Alright. So this is all about the formulas that we use for calculation of or for solution of open channel flow problems. Okay. Now we'll see what are the type of problems and how to solve them. So basically now you know what are the formulas that you are going to use. Okay. Now what are the type of problems? Let's see. Let's say in a channel, this is a suppose trapezoidal channel. Imagine we want to understand now what type of problems you can get. Okay. So suppose you get a problem that some flow is taking place in a trapezoidal section. Okay. This is a trapezoidal section. This is the slope. This is side slope is 1 vertical to m horizontal. Okay, that is the side slope. This is your B. Okay, this is the normal depth yn. So some uniform flow is taking place. Okay, and in this particular uniform flow, what are the parameters, flow parameters, etc.? What are the parameters we have? Q, we have V, we have A, we have Y, N, we have N, we have bed slope SB. Okay, these are the parameters. Okay, so let's say you talk about, suppose Manning's formula. Manning's formula is Q equal to A by N R to the power 2 by 3 SB to the power 1 by 2. So you can write Q is equal to A is what? For trapezoidal sections, A is, this we have seen earlier, By plus M Yn square. Okay, and R upon N. R is what? A by P. So A is Byn plus Myn square raised to 2 by 3 upon perimeter. Perimeter is B plus twice Yn under root 1 plus M square. Okay, raised to 2 by 3 into SB to the power half. Okay. Now see, if in this problem there can in this problem there can be 4 types or rather 5 types. What are the types? For the first type, you will be asked to calculate, suppose Q. You will be asked to calculate, suppose discharge or velocity. Discharge or velocity. It is of similar type. Oh, this problem is of similar type. Either you will have to calculate Q or V. So what will be given? Other parameters. So you will be given, suppose Manning's constant, bed slope, okay, and geometry, Geometry means your base width, side slope, etc. that will be given, and your normal depth will be given. So you can calculate this discharge or velocity. Second type of problem is, suppose you want to calculate Manning's constant, okay, and other things will be given. Third type of problem, you will be required to calculate SB and other parameters will be given. Fourth type, you will be required to calculate the normal depth Yn and other parameters will be given. And fifth and last type of problem, you will need to calculate geometrical properties such as B or M, okay, side slope or base width, etc. and other parameters will be given. So in the 5 type of problems, the first 3 type of problems are very simple. Why? Because these are explicit equations. See, the same equation, in this equation if you want to calculate, suppose first type, you need to calculate discharge or velocity. It's very simple because Q is on the left hand side, just put the values on the right hand side and get the answer, because this is an explicit equation in terms of Q. A Q is expressed explicitly, okay. Same thing is with Manning's constant. If you want to calculate Manning's constant, what you will do? Just take N here and Q here, okay. Again N is on one side, on the other side you put the values and get the solution, okay. So this is also explicit, it's very simple. Third, same case with the third type of problem. If you want to calculate SB, slope, bed slope, again you take bed slope here, put all the values on the other side. So all these 3 type of problems can be solved directly. So we have direct solutions for this, direct solution. But if you need to calculate the normal depth or any geometrical properties, then both these cases we don't have a direct solution. See, our initial formula is what? Q equal to 1 by N A r to the power 2 by 3 SB to the power 1 by 2. Now in this equation, if you want to calculate Yn, it is not simple, okay. Why? Because we cannot separate Yn. Though Yn is the only unknown in this equation and you can get the values, but directly you cannot separate out Yn on one side and rest of the parameters on other side. So this cannot be expressed explicitly. So direct solution is not available for normal depth calculation. Same is the case with geometrical properties like base width or M you want to find out, then you cannot separate that easily, okay, or rather you cannot separate it at all, okay. So you have to go for trial and error, or you have to go for some programming, simple programming you have to do, trial and error, and get the solutions, okay. So these are the 5 type of problems. We will see all these type of problems, okay. Okay, so first type of problem we'll see, calculating the discharge, okay. So this is the problem what we are given, a trapezoidal section 10 meter wide and having side slope of 1.5 horizontal to 1 vertical. The bed slope is given 0.003 and we are told that the canal is lined with the concrete having Manning's constant equal to 0.012, okay. So we know the Manning's constant. We want to calculate the mean velocity and discharge for a flow depth of 3 meters, okay. So in this problem, just draw the figure first. Okay, so this is your cross section, trapezoidal cross section. This is the base width B. How much is the base width? We are given 10 meters, okay. 10 meters is the base width of this channel. Now side slope, what is given? The side slope is given 1.5 horizontal to 1 vertical. So for 1 vertical rise, we are traveling 1.5 horizontal. So this is the value of M. Our formulas in the last lectures, we have derived the formulas. In those formulas, we always use side slope M as the horizontal component. The horizontal distance you have to travel for 1 vertical, okay. So this is 1 vertical, so 1.5 horizontal, so our M becomes 1.5. Next, normal depth, flow depth is given as 3 meters. So this is nothing but the normal depth, 3 meters. All right, and they are saying that the surface of this canal is coated with concrete, or concrete lining is done on this canal. So your Manning's roughness value will become, or they have given, it will be for concrete, so 0.012. Okay, our job is to find out the average velocity and discharge. Okay, once we know the average velocity, we can calculate the discharge easily. Okay, now this is the first type of problem. We saw what 5 type of problems can be asked. This is the first type. It is very simple. How to solve that? So let's go ahead and solve. Now we are given Manning's constant, so obviously we will use Manning's equation according to applying Manning's equation. Manning's formula. Manning's formula is V equal to 1 by n r to the power 2 by 3 SB to the power 1 by 2. Okay, bed slope is also given. I forgot to write here. Bed slope is 0.0003. Okay, bed slope is given 0.0003. So this is the Manning's formula. Now you can use this formula and calculate the mean velocity. But before that, we need the values of hydraulic radius. Okay, so first you calculate the value of hydraulic radius. So hydraulic radius R is equal to flow area upon wetted perimeter. Okay, flow area A is, what is the definition of flow area? Flow area is the cross sectional area of the flow. Whenever flow is suppose taking place in this direction now. Okay, flow is moving like this. So what is the cross sectional area of flow to this direction? It is this area. Okay, so this is the flow area, and the flow area for trapezoidal section we have already calculated. It is the area of this rectangle plus area of these two triangles. Okay, so area of this rectangle is by or yn. Okay, because here depth is specific, normal depth, yn plus m yn square. So that is equal to, this by is what? Area of rectangle, and area of those two triangles will be my square. Okay, so that is b 10 into yn is 3 plus m is the side slope 1.5 in this case into 3 square. So flow area becomes 43.5. What will be the unit? Meter square, since the dimensions are in meters. Okay, length dimensions. Second is wetted perimeter. Wetted perimeter is the length of the cross section that is wetted by the flow. So this length, this to here to here, here to here, and here to here, this length is the wetted perimeter. Okay, and wetted perimeter formula also we derived in earlier classes. We have derived, it will be b plus twice yn under root 1 plus m square. Okay, for a trapezoidal section. So b is 10 plus 2 into yn is 3 under root 1 plus m square 1.5. M is 1.5. So wetted perimeter will become 20.881. Okay, so we can calculate hydraulic radius as A by P. It will be 43.5 upon 20.81. It will be 2.09. Okay, once you know the value of hydraulic radius, you can directly calculate velocity. V is equal to 1 by, what is the value of n? Manning's constant is 0.012 into R is 2.09 raised to 2 by 3 into SB is bed slope 0.0003 to the power half. Bed slope is having no unit, okay, unitless, since it is slope, length divided by length, so no unit. So V is just calculated 1 by n, 0.012 into 2.09 raised to 2 by 3 into 0.0003 raised to 1 by 2, okay. 2.35 meters per second. Unit of velocity will be meters per second. All SI units, we have used SI units. Now discharge will be simple, area into velocity, flow area into average velocities. Flow area we know 43.5 meters square into velocity is 2.35 meters per second. So discharge we are getting, this is in meter square area and this is meters per second. So we are getting volume per unit time discharge, that is 2.35 into 43.5, 102.225 meter cube per second. So this is our discharge. Okay, so meter cube per second. So you can find out directly the value of velocities and discharge. Okay, so if you get a uniform flow problem where you need to calculate Q or V, you can just apply the Manning's formula or Chase's formula if you get Chase's constant and simply solve it for Q or V. Okay.